Like you'd be top tier. You'd be in this upper echelon of trading.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Nux Trades here again. We're doing a back testing session for the week of Christmas. This week, I do want to say that I did not live trade at all, just paper trading and market watching here, testing out a couple of new things for trading in the new year. So you'll see a couple of those different things in this video and how I'm using them. If you want to get a sneak peek and get more involved in the everyday conversations, you can go to the link in my YouTube bio to join my Discord channel. We do weekly backtesting reviews, which is the video you actually see today. That was a live stream in the Discord. Also in there talking pretty much all day, every day. And if you want to connect with me more and see more of like lifestyle stuff and the trades I take and advice, psychology, and all that stuff, you can follow me on Twitter at Nux Trades. That link to my Twitter is also in my bio. And if you're looking for a funded account, I have a link in my bio to get a funded account from Apex. That link should give you a percent off of the funded account. So make sure you go do that and like, comment, and subscribe for this backtesting video. And I appreciate you watching. All right, so we're gonna go back and start on Monday and backtest the previous week's price action. Well, technically speaking, we're not going to be doing Monday because Monday was Christmas, so market was closed on Monday. So we're going to start on Tuesday. Periodically this week, I've been posting stuff on Twitter, all of the plays that I'm watching because it's a no trade week because should have been low volatility, which would have led to less probability trades. But this week didn't actually look that bad, so we'll walk through it and go through A plus entries and less risk entries. We're just looking at MES, by the way. So we got highs and lows from the overnight session on the 26th. High rated here, and we get a less risk entry right here because we have these equal lows right here. So these aren't counted as a swing low for me because neither one of them are swing lows. They're just equal lows. So we have a less risk entry here that ends up failing with this fair value gap right here with it only a 2.75 handle stop. But if we would have went 1-1 on a less risk entry, which I've been debating on doing recently, this would have been a win. So if you're reaching for 5 handles on that, then it would have been a loss. But if you're just going 1-1, that would have been a win for us. So next we got a fair value gap in the afternoon on Monday. So 1300 start of our afternoon session, and we get low put in early in the morning, and then our high gets put in right here. We raid the high, and we get a less risk entry followed up by an inversion fair value gap, which is something we've been talking a ton about in the Discord. So this gives us more confidence that this less risk entry is going to work. As you can see, very little drawdown on that. Followed 5 handle stop loss rule above the swing high there. Um, I mean, it looks like in hindsight it would have been safe above just this fair value gap, but that 5 handle could stretch to the swing high, so that's where we put it. And it was an almost immediate win, just downside, or downside completely after we filled that fair value gap. So that one worked out great. So that would have gave you 1 for 2 or 2 for 2, depending on if you went 1 for 1 on this less risk entry here. And that's the only thing we got on Tuesday. So now we can move on to Wednesday. Mark out our highs and lows. All right. So raid the previous session low or overnight low with these wicks right here. Raid them again. We never get any sort of upside movement because this is the 930 candle, 930 fair value gap, and that's not something that I take. So we're not looking at the 930 fair value gap there. And we go over, we just keep kind of chopping around, and then we get a fair value gap at both 1130 and 1135. and because of my five handle stop rule, I place my um, entry at the second fair value gap down here because I want to be able to reach within five handles. I could have reached it a little bit higher here, but I just did it at 4 1/4 right there because I figured we were going to come back in and get this gap. And we do. We get this gap, or we fill it right here with this wick, chop around a little bit, almost get the win for five handles right here. But eventually it comes back down and then pumps again. And this right here is actually a plus entry because these two are equal highs. But if you notice, this candle right here is a swing high on its own. So that's why I'm counting that as a swing high, which would mean an A plus entry. And then if we look at it, we can see that it actually gives us over 2RR. So that's something we've been looking at a lot is reaching our A plus entry to 2RR and taking a partial at 1. So if we do this and we took a partial at 5, and then we would have got our 2RR on that A plus entry. So next we will go into the afternoon session of Wednesday. Shoot, you can see that line. That's good. So mark out our highs and lows, low, and this would have been our high here. So we raid the high, and then before we get a short setup after the high raid, we end up raiding the low. So I'm no longer looking short anymore after we raid this low again. My bias is now changing to looking for a long setup, which we do get right here. We get a less risk entry right here. Um, with this less risk entry, we're not closing through any inversions. So this is just a regular less risk entry. So we get this tiny fair value gap right here, and we set our order within five handles. So for this one, I did not get filled within the gap, and that's completely okay. If it comes down and gets me below the gap, that's fine. Um, so I get filled below the gap here. Five handles, stop loss below these triple equal lows here, reaching for five handles and going for 1R on the less risk entry. And as you can see, it does go five handles and it even goes more, but that's some kind of weird data candle probably. So now we're moving on to Thursday, yesterday the 28th. And again, this whole week was just paper trading and forward testing. So no live trades this week, and it'll most likely be like that for next week too. But we'll see what price action is looking like on Monday of next week. Mark out our highs and lows. So we get our low rate here, and this is 930 fair value gap. I'm not taking this. I'm waiting for a candle or for a fair value gap after that. Um, could have taken this candle, I guess, but that's not really one that I'm interested in. If I wanted to take another long, I'd probably wait for us to go and raid this low again, just because of the choppy price action. So it doesn't look like I would have got a trade in the morning, especially during this chop like this. I'm not sure. Um, how you're gonna trade the model trading this because pretty sure we were within a five handle range almost the entire day. So what are we? 13 handle range it looks like. So I mean five handles is tough to give. So there's really nothing to cover here. I mean I'll look at the afternoon session and make sure nothing else happened in the afternoon session. Um, looks like we end up rating a low here, but before we get a fair value gap, we raid the high. So I switch my bias back to short and I mean, we have this tiny, tiny fair value gap right here, I guess. If we wanted to look at that, I probably, I didn't even forward test yesterday because this was just gross the entire day, but we'll look at this real quick. I haven't looked at this play yet. So short position, and we'd set our stop loss above this high, 4.75, and it definitely gives us at least 1R, and it gives us five handles, but you would have been in that trade literally all day. So that's not something that I probably would have taken after I saw this chop. I probably would have just waited and then see what Friday brings. But a good week this week. We looks like we only had one loss, I think, if I'm counting it correctly. one loss on the week. We had some less risk entries play out. We had A plus entries play out. We had less risk entries paired with inversion fair value gaps pair out or play out. So it was a great week this week. Paper testing, looking into some different stuff with the Discord and seeing what we can get our new edge for in 2024. We're super excited for it over here. Um, and yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Till next time, safe trading.